I want to dig deeper and bring in Alex Clement. He's a senior editor for G0 Media. Before that, he was the director of Eurasia's research focusing on the political economy, monetary issues, and foreign policy of Russia. All right, Alex, I'm so glad you're here. As you mentioned, Zelensky spoke before Davos today on a video meeting. But Davos, these are corporate leaders, government leaders, oftentimes Russian oligarchs, maybe not this year. Right. Why that set as he's demanding more sanctions, no commitment to any banks, no trading whatsoever with Russian oil? Why Davos?
I think Zelensky's worried about something very important, which is that the West may start to lose interest in the conflict, right? We're 3 months into the war. As Cal says, the Ukrainians have shown astounding heroism, pushing the Russians back from Kiev, away from Kharkiv. You know, Russia thought this war would last 3 days. 3 months later, the opera is on in Kiev again, right? But what's happening is that the war is sort of shifting into a more gruesome stalemate type of situation, where the Russians have enough bodies, enough cannon fodder to hold positions in the east and in the south, but maybe not to push further without Putin declaring a mobilization, which he seems scared to declare. And on the other side, the Ukrainians have the heart, they have the determination, and they have the Western weapons to keep the Russians at bay, but probably not drive them out of Ukraine entirely, right? So what you have is a stalemate, which starts to lose people's interest over time, right? People start to wonder, okay, how is this going to end? Business leaders are wondering, look, what you hear from Davos, everyone supports Ukraine's right to defend itself. Everyone thinks Ukraine is on the right side of history, but how does it end? And at what cost? And so I think Zelensky's task today in Davos was to try to nip those apprehensions in the bud and restore the sense of moral clarity and purpose around this issue.
Well, let's talk about sanctions. Are they working? Because you've got people here, for example, who maybe are losing interest, who are looking at soaring gas prices, and they're not that happy. And they're saying, oh, we're paying up for gas because we've got to do this to Russia, the sanctions. But then you look over at Russia and the ruble that a lot of people don't pay attention to, is at a 52-week high.
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
Well, the Russians did a very good job of blunting the initial impact of the sanctions. There's no question that the sanctions have set Russia back decades in terms of what kind of economy it is. This is not going to be an innovative, modern economy in any meaningful sense of the word.
It wasn't going to be an innovative, modern economy long before the war started. Putin has sucked. Right. I mean, but besides oil and gas, what else do they export that's of note? Grain? He's done nothing in terms of innovation.
Yeah. Well, look, they've been set back. Even you talk about arms, their arms export industry has been set back by these sanctions, right? I mean, Russia's been set back decades, right? But the question is this enough to change Putin's calculus on the war? Right? And so far, it seems like it's not. The question with sanctions is always this: whose threshold of pain is higher? Western democracies that are concerned about economic issues like inflation that you've talked about, or Vladimir Putin, who's concerned about the survival of his regime.
So right now, what's the answer?
I think Putin is willing to bear an awful lot of pain to do what he thinks he needs to do in Ukraine. For him, this is an existential issue. For your average voter in the United States, it's probably not. And that's the problem that Zelensky is trying to solve, trying to say, look, this does matter. It does matter as a defense of democracies. It does matter. He even talked about the food inflation issue. He said, listen, part of the reason your food price is so high is because the Russians are waging war on my country, and we're a major exporter of wheat and cooking oil and things that people use in their kitchens.
How much worse is that going to get? The port of Odessa is still closed. Russia is blocking it, and Ukraine is not going to get these grains out, not in the near future.
Right. It can get a lot worse. I mean, the UN has already warned that the war in Ukraine could push close to 2 billion people closer to poverty, starvation, famine even. And the issue is that, as you say, the grains can't get out of the Ukrainian ports, but also Russian fertilizer is not getting out to the world because people don't want to touch it, and the Russians aren't sending it to unfriendly countries. There are energy aspects of this that are making prices continue to rise. And it's a big problem, particularly for the global south, but also for lower-income people in the developed democracies. People's food bills are going up, and it is directly tied to the war in Ukraine.
So where do we go from here? You've got one Russian diplomat saying, I'm out, but he's also saying, I'm going to hide out here in Geneva. Do you see any more movement on the Russia side?
Look, it takes an extraordinarily high amount of personal conviction and courage to do what Ambassador Bondarev did, right? For one thing, he's given up his entire career. But let's not forget, you can also go to jail for 15 years in Russia for even calling this a war, right? So criticism of the war comes at very high personal cost. I think his decision should be commended. We should welcome him as a source of insight and perspective on what's going inside of Russia. I would not expect boatloads of Russian diplomats to be jumping on boats to freedom over the next couple of weeks.
Alex, you definitely came to make us smarter, and you succeeded. Thank you for joining us tonight.